I got my city doing front flips. When every father mayor rapper jump ship. I guess that's why they call it where I stay. Clean up the streets so my daughter can have somewhere to play. I'm the blueprint to a real man. Some of these toss they tassel for a deal, man. I ain't going to hell or the hill, man. For my real fans. I got caught up with a Lil Xan. Couldn't stop me, but it slowed me though. Yeah, famous, you don't know me though. But their DJ still play me though. Them I don't even need the radio. Sound like a rodeo. Got the old folks dancing the do-do. So they round sign me the OVO. Ooh, I just might share my next one with Keith. Got the industry in disbelief. They be asking for beef. This what it sound like when God split an atom with me. I even had Steve giving out apples for free.
They was talking woo, this who up the band. City so great, I feel like Alexander. Wear your halo like a hat, that's like the latest fashion. I got angels all around me, they keep me surrounded.
My name is Dr. Jeffrey Eugene Tompkins Jr. I am the founder and executive director for Jet Foundation. A little bit about Jet Foundation. We are a local nonprofit organization and we are advocates for the underprivileged and underserved community out here in Las Vegas. This is a twofold event. Jet Foundation has been around for about a year now, so this event has turned into a fundraiser and a soft Jet Foundation anniversary. We're looking to raise funds for Jet Foundation's initiatives and our upcoming programs as well as events that we have scheduled. I never thought to be active in the community, just being a single father and being diagnosed with colon cancer and a multitude of other health issues, I've seen what it looks like to need assistance in the community. So that's the reason why I established Jet Foundation, to be a force, not just a foothold here in Las Vegas. So our signature Jet Foundation event is Easter, and we are doing an amazing Easter carnival, and we're expecting upwards of about 1,000 individuals to come out and participate in this amazing event. We have amazing vendors here at this event. We have Taste Buds. They are an amazing catering company. They have gourmet baked potatoes on hand. We also have Tony's Mobile Bartending, and she's here doing an amazing thing. And of course we have Mr. JD Whitehead doing an amazing job capturing these moments for the attendees tonight. If you see something, say something. There are so many needs in our community, and you could be the key that could change someone's life. You know, I'm a firm believer in every kid is one caring adult away from being a success story. So you could be that caring adult. You don't have to have a nonprofit. You don't have to be doing things on a grand scale. Just help. That's where it starts. You know, you can go like I did. I started Jet Foundation feeding our homeless population out of the trunk of my car. And within a year, I've been able to help several thousand families and individuals with the programs that we have. So just be a force and do something. I just want to thank the community, you know, because this movement that we're a part of, you know, it's not a me thing, this is a we thing. So I want to thank Las Vegas, I want to thank my supporters, I want to thank my sponsors, I want to thank everyone that has sowed a seed in this organization, because I'm able to accomplish the things that I do because of every single one of you guys. So thank everyone that may be looking at this, may share it, you know, and that has sowed into Jet Foundation, because this is not my organization, this is a community organization. And we as a community are able to do the things that we can because of everyone pitching in. You can find me online, definitely on the website at myjetfoundation.org, or you can reach me on Jet Foundation's Facebook page at Jet Foundation LV, as well as Instagram at Jet Foundation LV as well. Thank you guys, you know, thank you, thank you, thank you. And if you were not able to come out to this event, definitely come out to the next one, because you can stay abreast of what we have going on and be a part of this amazing movement. You know, we're making people matter, and we're about that jet life. So come on and join what we have going on.
Jet Foundation started because, you know, the path that I was on in my personal life kind of led. My bad.
That's not good.
Always a hater.
That's like they knew your phone was
Always
like
a hater.
They knew your phone was just like, we got to get him somehow.
Girl,
You can talk to me
no,
anytime.
I don't need you to talk to you. What in the hell?
I got my city doing front flips. When every father mayor rapper jump ship. I guess that's why they call it where I stay. Clean up the streets so my daughter can have somewhere to play. I'm the blueprint to a real man. Some of these toss they tassel for a deal, man. I ain't going to hell or the hill, man. For my real fans. I got caught up with a Lil Xan. Couldn't stop me, but it slowed me though. Yeah, famous, you don't know me though. But their DJ still play me though. Them I don't even need the radio. Sound like a rodeo. Got the old folks dancing the do-do. So they round sign me the OVO. Ooh, I just might share my next one with Keith. Got the industry in disbelief. They be asking for beef. This what it sound like when God split an atom with me. I even had Steve giving out apples for free.
They was talking woo, this who up the band. City so great, I feel like Alexander. Wear your halo like a hat, that's like the latest fashion. I got angels all around me, they keep me surrounded.
Who is you and who is them? All of a sudden, who up the bam? You can't touch me, nah, 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 nah. I got angels. I got angels. I ain't changing
Who
numbers.
is Jeffrey Tompkins?
Who is Jeffrey Tompkins? A father, a community leader, a philanthropist, a business owner, the founder and executive director of Jet Foundation, and co-partner in the Aspiration Center. So I graduated high school at 15, received a scholarship, and I have my bachelor's degree in human resource management. I have a master's degree in business administration. My PhD is in philosophy with a concentration in organizational leadership. Like I said, none of those things are nonprofit management or nonprofit leadership. However, my education and training and also work experience has just kind of led me to a point to where I kind of know how to do things efficiently and the right way. You know, so, you know, running a business, you need to have an understanding of human resource management. Running a business, you need to and should have a foundation for understanding business and logistics and fundamentals, you know, and with the organizational leadership aspect just kind of lends me to writing policies and procedures and understanding training and aspects and just essentially bringing and knowing how to pull the very best out of people with their skills.
What did you want to be when you grew up?
Successful. You know,
That's a good answer.
I wanted to be successful, you know, coming from where I did and growing up how we did. I just knew that I didn't want to, you know, raise my child or future children to be like that. However, Jet Foundation kind of just happened. Jet Foundation essentially started because I became a single father the day I turned 18. My son was born. And about a year or two after that, when I was 20, I got really, really sick. Well, 19 going into 20, I got really, really sick. The doctors didn't know what was going on with me. About 8-9 months later, I was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. And, you know, since then, a multitude of other things, which led me to eventually, at one point in time, my cancer relapsed, and not having services or supportive services, rather, or family support led me to, you know, unfortunately losing my house and my cars being repossessed, and I ended up in a shelter with my son. So reaching out to other organizations and companies, I didn't receive the services that I needed, and eventually I just kind of came to a point like, well, it shouldn't be this way. It shouldn't be, you know, so many qualifiers and restrictions on receiving help. The name of Jet Foundation is my namesake, you know, Jeffrey Eugene Tompkins, and also when trying to figure out what a nonprofit will mean to me, there's always a qualifier. There's always a certain demographic, you know, a targeted demographic generally that a nonprofit or a specialty will focus on. Jet Foundation is, you know, joining everyone together. You know, we service everyone, and our demographic that we look for is people in need. And that kind of directly correlates to why I am the way that I am and why I go so hard for Jet Foundation in its entirety, and also my clients that come seek help and supportive services from Jet Foundation. You know, every one of our 22 programs, with the exception of our sickle cell resources, I could have personally benefited from at one point in time, but I absolutely 1000% can relate to those individuals, especially being a single father, being a young African American raising a child with no additional support, no support from my son's mother or child support, and being a medically fragile individual. I know what it's like to reach out for help and not get it. I know what it's like to need something and go to an organization that should have funds and don't meet some type of qualifier, you know, and ultimately being turned away and having to figure something else out. You know, how am I gonna get, you know, what I need? The first success for Jet Foundation, after I was doing my community engagement, so I was feeding the community, I had an Easter event. I kind of had the thought to where I just want to have an Easter egg hunt in the park. That was in 2019. So I wanted to have it at Mulaski Park, and I reached out to the commissioner of the area, and they were not receptive of me having the event at the park. They stated that after I told them what I wanted to do, because at that time I had built a few community alliances with a couple partners to where I was able to offer mental health and substance abuse services, in addition to providing permanent housing for homeless individuals. So having this conversation with the commissioner, his office was like, well, we don't feel like it will be a safe environment, or we can secure the event, and we also feel that your event will attract homeless people to the park. Go figure. But I was already working in that community at that same park, you know, feeding these individuals and providing these services and offering them permanent housing options, you know. So I went with my son's school, Brindley Middle School at the time. I had a great relationship with them, you know, obviously being a single parent, being on the board there, and, you know, all the other parent groups. We quickly realized that it was going to be much more than just an Easter egg hunt, and we were doing the event. I was planning the event, and I was a complete novice. I was just kind of made a flyer, you know, and I was just sharing it, people sharing it. And the date, probably a week before, someone that had made a commitment to support the event backed out, and they had committed to purchasing all of the amusement equipment, so the jumpers and the slides and the laser tag and the cotton candy and the snow cone machine and all those things, and the yard games. And I kind of quickly went into hustle mode, and, you know, just using my, you know, connection to the community and reaching out, we were able to go ahead and get those covered. But I looked up at the event, and it was raining that day. We were out there setting up, and I remember it started sprinkling. The clouds had kind of rolled in, and I'm sitting here looking like, oh my goodness, like this is not gonna be good. It kind of sprinkled a little bit, and it was before the event. And it's like, as soon as the start time, I kid you not, as soon as the start time of the event happened, the clouds kind of receded, and it was like a ray of sunshine just shined on the park. And I looked up, it was over 400 people at the event. I accidentally had over 400 people at this event, and I say accidentally because I didn't expect that many people coming out. Thankfully, we had enough resources to provide for all these individuals, but I can definitely say that was my proudest moment. And I was like, okay, I can do this. You know, it taught me a lesson about being prepared and, you know, paperwork, and also that's the reason why now you have to sign up for a Jet Foundation event, just with the scope of how we do things in these events. I never want people to come to a Jet Foundation event and be turned away, or we run out of resources, or run out of candy, or run out of a backpack, or food boxes, or whatever the event is. That's not a good feeling. Thankfully, that has never happened with Jet Foundation, and I don't feel like I need to knock on wood, because with proper planning and where we are now, we just prepare for those kind of things. So if we have an event and I have 500 people signed up on an RSVP, I'm providing resources. I'm going to have enough food and whatever for probably about 550, 560, because there's always going to be people that walk up to an event and say, hey, what do you guys got going on? And being that I've never charged for these kind of events, it's like, well, just come on in and we'll make it happen. Jet Foundation signature event is Easter. We just had our 3rd annual Easter event this year here in 2021, and it was amazing. We actually had the largest Easter event in the city. The mayor, her office supported, presented a proclamation. April 3rd is now Jet Foundation Day in the city of Las Vegas. Congressman Stephen Horsford's office came out and they supported the event. Senator Catherine Cortez Masto, her office came out and supported and presented a proclamation. Senator Carrie Ann Buck came out and presented a proclamation, and she brought her family out and just kind of enjoyed the festivities. And I also this year, or the end of last year, partnered with Dream Sickle Kids Foundation, which is the first sickle cell organization in the state of Nevada. And our signature event collectively is Christmas. So this year will be our 3rd Christmas event, and we're already planning for that to be about 1,000 people. COVID put this entire planet in what I call situational crises. The world was spinning normally one day, and then we woke up one day and everything was at a halt. And if you lived in Las Vegas, I literally just got chills and my hair stood up. If you lived in Las Vegas, you know what that looked like and you know what that felt like. For the strip to be completely dark, no cars moving. A friend of mine stayed downtown, in a high rise, and to look and all the way from downtown and to be able to see the Mandalay Bay, and there's no cars, maybe a couple cars, and those were police cars. It was terrible and unfortunate and also scary. Me personally, being an immunocompromised individual, I honestly thought COVID was going to be the you're gonna make me cry, man. I honestly thought COVID was going to be the thing that killed me, just because with the misinformation that was coming out of the administration in the White House at the time, and lack of information and just not really knowing. I really thought that I didn't think that I was going to make it out of COVID, to be completely honest. And it was a very scary time for my son and I, just because being locked down and, me still having to go out and get things and food and resources and, COVID was definitely a scary time, then at one point, probably a couple weeks into the lockdown, I realized, because Jet Foundation phone didn't really stop ringing, and then seeing on social media and our website and our emails for all the for the requests for need and services happening, I was like, okay, well, I really felt some kind of way to have a platform or a foundation, no pun intended, such as Jet Foundation, to be able to provide services for individual and not utilize that. So coincidentally, at that time, I was actually planning our 2nd annual Easter event. So I already had many commitments for for services and goods and food and product from my community partners. And at the time, I probably had 700 Easter baskets at my house that were already made up. At the time, we were planning, and the Easter event, it was going to be at Andre Agassi, or Democracy Prep at the Andre Agassi campus. We were planning it with them when I shut our list down, our RSVP list, which I literally cried in doing so, because Governor Sisolak said we were going to be on a 30-day lockdown. And in my mind, it was 30 days. That's what it was going to be. This was going to be over. Everybody was going to come out of lockdown and come to our second Easter event. So when I shut the list down, we were at 1,037 RSVPs. So I was obviously preparing for 1,000 individuals. And I already had the commitment, and I already had the Easter baskets, and I already had food that was going to be contributed from Porter Subs, which is one of our largest food donors, and also Nothing But Cakes. You know, so I was like, well, we already have these committed from them, and having conversations with them, they was like, well, our stores are closed, but if you are going to do something, we're going to be here to support you, and whatever you need, you got it. So I quickly had to be change agile, which is another term that is kind of established through COVID. And I had one of the very first, if not the first, drive-through event in the city, you know, and we were able to provide 800 plates of food for individuals, and we gave out, I think it was about 860 Easter baskets, and I had got a commitment or a contribution of food by one of our community partners, and I think it was maybe about several carloads of bread and donuts, you know. So I took those and I broke them down and put them in different sandwich bags, and probably about 4 or 5 in each sandwich bag, and donuts, and put those in bags, and also bagels. So we provided all those goods to individual. And I also had a pallet of water in my storage from one of our community partners. So just getting all that stuff together, and at that time utilized my church's facility to have a drive-through event. And so that was very successful in the sense of we were able to help hundreds and hundreds of people, you know, and countless families that needed the services, you know. So that's kind of how COVID made me pivot. And then, you know, COVID affected a lot of families in many, many, many ways, and, you know, hurt a lot of businesses and organizations. It was the exact opposite for Jet Foundation. Jet Foundation thrived through COVID.
When you think about the legacy of Jet Foundation, when you think about, just like any brave, bold businessman before you, and even myself, we all think about that one day where we just can't do it no more. You know, what is it that you want to leave behind? You know,
you about to make me cry.
And even when you think about, you know, like your son and you know, things like that, what is it that Jet Foundation is going to be in the future?
That's a great question. Sorry, just a thought. The thought of not having Jet Foundation, and the thought of me not being able to, you know, be there for families in need, and being able to assist the community, it's terrifying to me. You know, I've lived in Las Vegas 18 years. Jet Foundation was established for a reason, you know. I didn't reinvent the wheel with Jet Foundation. I just made it work for me and kind of created our own lane in doing things. So the thought of Jet Foundation not being here, or me not being able to get out and do what we do, like, it makes me emotional, because I know what it's like, you know. And when, by the time people get to me and Jet Foundation, you know, they went through social services and welfare and many, many, many other larger organizations with multi-million-dollar budgets. you know, and I know what it's like to reach out to someone because you're in need, and I know what it's like to be a parent reaching out and you not get the services, you know. So I can barely speak just even thinking about it, you know. But as far as the legacy of Jet Foundation, that definitely makes me smile, because, you know, we've been able to help a lot of people, and the foundation that I've been able to build and the brand that Jet Foundation has, it sustains itself. You know, I'm not sure who's gonna come after me, you know, but let's just hope that we keep doing what we're doing, you know. A short-term goal for Jet Foundation is to keep our pantry stocked, you know, to keep our programs running, to keep increasing our program list, you know, to keep our lights on, to keep our doors open. That's a short-term goal for me. Another short-term goal is to increase our mobile outreach. Right now we have one mobile unit. Hopefully, I received an email here about a month ago. Looks like we're going to be getting another vehicle here soon. So being able to turn that into a second mobile resource van, or, you know, something of the sort, is definitely needed. You know, another, I would say a long-term goal of Jet Foundation and the Aspiration Center would be to, our current location here is on Eastern and Tropicana, or more specifically, Eastern and Tompkins, go figure. But I see Aspiration North, I see Aspiration West, I see Aspiration East, you know, I see Aspiration Henderson, you know, because again, it's no shade to other people and other organizations. People do great work in this community, but it's only one Jet Foundation and it's only one Aspiration Center, you know, and due to the fact that the demographic that we serve is need, whether you're black, white, Hispanic, you know, Asian American, straight, gay, undecided, you know, undocumented, you know, if you need help, we will help you. Not many other organizations that I know of is like that, you know. Again, that's the qualifier, you know. So that's a long-term goal, and it may not be that long because those wheels have already been set in motion. If something happens, I'm there. My phone, I'm available 24/7. You know, I literally just had a call in the middle of the night where I had to go help a family out in an emergency crisis. A young mother reached out, she called, and she didn't anticipate that anybody was going to answer. So she was anticipating leaving a message, and when I answered, she was kind of taken back. And I answered, Jet Foundation, you know, and she literally just started crying, you know, and she goes into explaining that she literally just ran out of the house with her 2 children to escape an abusive situation where she was getting physically, you know, assaulted by an individual, and one of her sons was assaulted because he was trying to protect his mom, you know, which that's not necessarily an uncommon situation. However, with her being an immunocompromised individual and her son being one of her sons being an extremely immobile immunocompromised individual, they can't go to a shelter, you know. In that sense, she, you know, a person would probably rather sleep in their car or sleep on the street, you know, because at that point I can at least control the environment that I'm in, rather than having to be forced to go to a shelter. You know, I know what that's like. You know, I know what it's like to lose everything. And I remember I had got off a bus in Illinois, and the person that was supposed to pick my son and I up just didn't come. It was the bus got there at 2:37 in the morning. It was the middle of winter. It was the week before Thanksgiving. If you know about Illinois, it was snow up to our waist. And the bus driver and the Greyhound terminal was closed. This was in 2007. I don't even think I had a cell phone. And if I did, it was dead. You know, and if I did, it was probably one of those ones with the button at the top with the little green screen. It was probably, I think it was a Nextel, you know, a chirp phone, you know. And I remember just standing there like not knowing what to do because the bus driver was like, look, I'm sorry, but I gotta go. And I remember I had to, my son was less than 2 at that time. He was born in 2006. So this was 2008, you know, so, yeah, he was less than, you know, he was 2. And I remember I had to take some of the clothes out of my tote. You know, I had a large Rubbermaid tote with our clothes and stuff in it, and taking some of the clothes out of it. And I remember I had to put my baby in there and, like put clothes on top of him and like all the rest of the stuff, and you know, just to kind of keep him warm. And I remember, you know, I didn't get, just kind of walking, and I remember getting to the shelter, homeless shelter. It was probably about 5:30, 5:45 in the morning, you know. So it's like, you know, those are the reasons why I do what I do, you know, because when I say I know what it's like, I do. The jet bus happened coincidentally, COVID. You know, I had come into a settlement from a car accident that I was in when I was 16 years old. And I was like, okay, well, I want to go get an office. I was running. I was like, oh, I want to go get an office. And my mentor at the time, Miss Glass with Dreamsicle, she was like, yeah, I don't think that's a good idea. And I was like, well, why? Like, I got the money for the office. She was like, yeah, but I don't think it's a good idea for you to go get an office just because you have the money, you know, because you're gonna have to pay rent and bills and to be able to sustain the office. And I was like, no, like I got it. Like, I get a good deal on the place. Like, I found a place, they gonna give me a good deal. And like I was like, well, just trust me. She was like, okay, like, and I remember I even tried to come show her the space, and she was like, well, yeah, it's nice, but since our phone call, have you found someone that's going to donate the space? And I was like, well, no. Like, and she was like, well, okay, well, it's a nice building, but, you know, let's go have some lunch because this is not happening. And begrudgingly, you know, I was like, oh, whatever, you know. Then the opportunity came. I woke up one morning and I was like, well, if I can't get an office, I got to do something because I can't keep operating out of my house, my townhouse, you know. So I was like, oh, I want to get a bus. I could get a bus and turn it into like a mobile food pantry. So I don't know how it happened, but I coincidentally, after having that thought, I coincidentally had a meeting like within the next couple 2 or 3 days with an individual who was a pastor or is a pastor and had a church and had a bus that was just sitting in front of his house, in front of their house for like a year or something. And having a conversation with him about Jet Foundation and our programming and like what I was looking to do. And I somehow was like, well, you know, I'm thinking about purchasing a bus and maybe turning it into like a mobile resource center, a mobile food pantry. And that was kind of the catalyst to the bus, you know, which was it wasn't a pretty, like a Cinderella story. Well, I guess it kind of be Cinderella because the bus wasn't the prettiest bus, you know, and needed some work. I got the bus, purchased the bus, and I was super excited. Oh, I'm taking pictures and this and this. And I was driving to the gas station and the bus cut off, you know, it cut off on me. And I was like, well, okay, well, maybe you just need gas, you know. So we were able to like put some gas in there. And what happened was the bus cut off and I had an appointment, like a doctor's appointment, you know. And I was like, well, I gotta leave the bus, you know. And I left I parked the bus and I called somebody to come pick me up. And I told the pastor and his associate pastor, I was like, well, y'all just get to go back and pick the bus up and just drop it off to me, right? So they did that and brought the bus to me like a few days later. So I was then, at that time, I was planning an event with an organization. It was a back to school event. And I remember I loaded up all this stuff from out of my house, and like food and backpacks and school supplies and breakfast cereal bars and all this stuff, and I put it on the bus. And I'm like, oh, I got a bus, you know, I'm gonna pull up. And I remember I backed the bus up and they unloading all this stuff out the bus, and as I'm walking from out of their office to back to the bus, it's like this trail of fluid running from the bus and leaking into their parking lot. And I was like, it smells like gas out here. And there was like something wrong with the gas tank and all this. So like we had to replace the gas tank and replace all this other stuff. So, you know, we had to get it mechanically sound. And then I got it wrapped thanks to Gecko Wraps here locally. They went ahead and assisted us and gave us a great, they hooked us up, you know, wrapped the bus. It took some time because we were communicating via email. And if anybody know me, I'm a very expressive person, you know, I'm a very expressive person. So I was trying to tell him, oh, I want the bus to be magical and whimsical, and, you know, and he's like, okay. And I was like words like, I was like Marvel and superheroes and, you know, cartoons and colorful and life and movement. And I remember he sent a rendering of the bus, right? And it was like a father with a kid like on their back, and the kid was like over their shoulder in space. It was like they were like in space. It was like behind the Milky Way was behind them or something. And when I seen it, it didn't make sense to me. But in him hearing all those words, and I was like magical and whimsy and like Guardians of the Galaxy and that's what he thought. He was like space. And I was like, and after 4 or 5 renderings, he was like, okay, this is not gonna work. You know, come in, clear your schedule for a few hours, come in so we could sit and get this. And by this point I was sending screenshots of like cartoon characters, and I'm like, no, I want like the people to be animated. Like, you know, I don't want to be on the bus. I don't want my face on the bus. Like, this is not a me organization. This is a community organization. It's not about me, you know. I just make it all happen. You know what I'm saying? So literally went in and set with Mike over at Gecko Wraps, and within 3 hours, I think we had kind of wrapped it up. And it's like, I said all those same things to him, those same words, and it just clicked in person, you know. So the bus is amazing. We were able to add some sponsors and some partners on there, and you know, the bus is beautiful and it rolls. I would say to anyone that is looking to get into nonprofit, just make sure that you're getting into it for the right reasons. If you're looking to get into nonprofit to get rich or to make money, this ain't it. You know, at least for Jet Foundation, at least for, you know, that's not what it's about. You know, I don't even take a salary for Jet Foundation, because those funds need to go into the community and, you know, being able to assist people. You know, but once you get past your why, I would also encourage you to figure out what would you do differently, because with nonprofits, it's not necessarily, you probably will not reinvent the wheel or create an entire wheel of your own, you know. So it's just, you know, make sure you're doing things the right way. You know, find someone that supports you, find a team to support and encourage you, to motivate you, and you want a working board. You don't want people just sitting that's not gonna do anything, you know. And then you also want to do your research, and you also want to make sure that your paperwork is in order. You know, you also want to make sure that you stay in legal compliance. You know, and something that Jet Foundation is successful, and I've been successful in creating my own lane because of the partnerships that I've been able to forge. You know, I can get a sponsorship. I can walk out of here and get a sponsor from anybody in this building, you know, outside of this office. That's just, I'm a people person. I'm a social butterfly. I don't need sponsors. A sponsor is like a one-time type of situation to me. You know, I have Jet Life family members. If you support me, thank you, you know, because you didn't have to. And I really, I hold that very, very near and dear to my heart. Surround yourself with people who's smarter than you. You know, in the sense that I don't know everything. I don't claim to know everything. I'm not a paperwork person. I'm not really an organizer person. Like, control chaos is how I live my life. It's just always been so many moving parts, and you know, but it works for me. You know, I'm more of a creative person. And, you know, I'm intelligent and I'm smart. I know things, but the partnership that I have forged with Dream Sickle Kids Foundation to create the Aspiration Center, it works. And we're successful in what we do because where I have areas of opportunity, Georgianae, she thrives and excels in those areas. And where she has areas of opportunity, I thrive, you know, so it works, you know, so, and don't try to do everything on your own because you don't have to, you know, and you may not even necessarily have to establish your own nonprofit. You could just join one that's already doing what you want to do. Again, if it's something completely different or, you know, individualized, have at it. You know, but you definitely want to do your research, you know, and make sure that your organization is qualified. And I mean that in the sense that I'm a part of, like I said, you know, several other groups. And you'll see people that get their nonprofit status and the first thing they're asking is, how do I get a building? Or how do I get a car? Or how do I get land? But are you qualified to ask for those kind of things? You know, so, and by that I mean, do the work. Like, don't worry about those things because they will come. You know, just because you have a nonprofit, you don't mean you need a building. I was running, you know, corporate headquarters out of my house for well over a year and a half before it even, like, I'm not in a position to get a building. You know, in my mind, I wanted one. You know, however, fiscally speaking, it just didn't make sense. So qualify your organization. Get out there and do the work. You know, make sure you have a website. Make sure you have an email. You know, and nonprofit@gmail.com is not, you know, from a business standpoint and a logistics standpoint, people just won't take you serious. You know, and I was told that by multi-billion-dollar corporations. And don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to step out on faith or step out on whatever your sense of being is. I'm a huge advocate of self-expression and individualism. There are 6-7 billion of everybody else, but you know, it's only one of me, and I celebrate my individualism. You know, and so does my community partners. You know, like they don't expect me to conform, and they don't ask me to, you know, because it works. Interestingly enough, not very many collaborators. Because
I'm not sure if that's the term.
Well, yeah, because collaborators would be more like partners and like, or like that we do events together. But some community partners that we have, Albertsons Safeway. Shout out to Albertsons and their whole team. They're actually our largest funder for Jet Foundation. You know, Smith's, another great funder for Jet Foundation. Oh my goodness, there's so many. Shout out to Jory over at Nothing But Cakes. I love her. Shout over to Mike Adams over at Porter Subs and his team. Shout out to Bob over at Angelicious Gourmet Popcorn and their team. Wellness at Home. You know, they provide our mental health and our substance abuse services. One Stop Career Center. Shout out to Julie Tate and her team over there. UNLV, they administer, they're a partner with our GED and our HSC program. Cosplayers Alliance. So Cosplayers is an amazing, now a nonprofit organization, so congratulations on the 501 award. And if you ever see crazy people at our events dressed as superheroes and taking pictures and hanging on the back of the cars and swinging upside down. That's cosplayers. Shout out to Miss Alexis over there. You know, Lifesavers is the first black-owned nursing school in the state. You know, so they actually administer one of our scholarships. Shout out to DJ D Money. You know, he has been the resident DJ for Jet Foundation. Shout out to Anthem Medicaid. Shout out to Miss Olivia and her team over there for being great community partners and supporters. AHF, which is AIDS Healthcare Foundation. They're there every event that I call them, providing, you know, HIV testing, STI testing, and all of those services. Shout out to Miss Tierra over at Plan Nevada. She is incredible, you know. She's always there. If we need tables, if we need partnerships or sponsorship, or if I need candy or Easter eggs, she's there, you know, from a business standpoint and also a personal standpoint, you know, and donating items and whatever we need. Black Nurses Rock, Walmart, 3 Square, The Center, Nevada Health Link, Siegel Cares, and Pink Box Donuts. They are great community partners as well. Whitehead Media, like I can't sit here and not, because you know, you and your team has been there for, I don't even know, like I don't even remember what, I think it was a Christmas event. Yeah, I think it was the first Christmas event. So for a couple years now, Clark County Fire Department, you know, they're always there at our events. They always come out. Blacks and Nonprofits. Shout out to the National Nonprofit Minority Association. The Hive, Martha's Balloons. That's an individual at her company, and they provide all our decorations and our balloons. You know, shout out to Kawaii Slime. You know, they provide, like, it's whatever. And a lot of these are people that I attempted many times to pay for their services, but it's like, you know, they just refuse. Shout out to Dreamsicle Kids Foundation. Oh, I'm about to cry. Shout out to Dreamsicle Kids Foundation. You know, because even if you don't know directly who Dreamsicle is and what they do, you know, if you or a family member or a friend or someone that you know has sickle cell and they live in the state of Nevada, they directly benefit from or have benefited from Dreamsicle Kids Foundation with, you know, leading and being directly into the first sickle cell bill being passed. And you know, before 2018, access to care and legislation was non-existent in the state, you know. So shout out to Georgia Nay, and shout out to Jenny, and shout out to the entire team at Dreamsicle Kids Foundation, because without you guys, I'm not even sure that Jet Foundation would be where we are today, because Dreamsicle, you know, and them, they believed in me, you know, when I didn't even know what I was doing. You know, I didn't know I was doing nonprofit work. I was just out, you know. I don't even think I had a business license at that time. Well, I had a business license, but it was an LLC. You can't have a LLC for a nonprofit, so definitely, you know. Dang, I'm sorry.
You're right.
Shout out to Dreamsicle and Georgia Nay, because definitely without Dreamsicle Kids Foundation, there would not be an Aspiration Center. You know, I just wanna thank everyone. You know, I want to thank.
I didn't think you would be crying this much.
I didn't think I would. You know, like, I just want to thank my supporters. You know, I want to thank my supporters. I want to thank the community, not just Las Vegas. I want to thank people all over this country that supports Jet Foundation and support me. You know, whether it's monetarily speaking or with in-kind items or just encouraging me and motivating me to keep going. And you know, I want to thank my sponsors and my community partners, and you know, I want to thank my team for being behind me. You know, I got great support. I also want to thank my assistant, because she keeps things going for me, you know, and she definitely brought a sense of balance and calm to this controlled chaos that I live. So shout out to Carrie and her family, you know, for always being there and, you know, doing whatever we need to do to get the job done, you know. And lastly, I want to thank I have to thank Georgianne, Georgianne Glass, or Gina, for believing in me, and encouraging me to keep going and empowering me to make decisions, and trusting me to not only make decisions on behalf of Jet Foundation and the aspirations in there, but also Dreamsicle Kids Foundation, and also empowering me and just all of those things. So those are the people that I want to thank. Also, I would have to say, thank you to Senator Carrie Ann Buck, because she is one of the first political individuals that reached out and responded to a message, and did what she said she was going to do, and that is essentially always being there and always supporting Jet Foundation, not just on a Dr. Tompkins and a Senator Carrie Buck level, but that's my mom's, and that's what she said. So it even feels weird for me to call her Senator Buck, because she's kind of beat that out of me. That's not our relationship, so, and that's by way of assisting with additional resources and additional funding opportunities, and just putting Jet Foundation in an arena of a true contender in this city, in this state. Savion, he get on my nerves. He's 15, 6'4", in the 10th grade, and like I said, I'm a single father, so I've been taking care of him since he was 8, since, he was born on my 18th birthday. And, he's a typical teenager, but he definitely brings a sense of purpose outside of Jet Foundation to my life, and always encourages me, and he's been there when I've been sick and, throwing up, and, he's had to, pick me up when I, blacked out, or, all those things, so that's my baby, so I love you, Papa.
And last question, and I do this on purpose, because I start every interview with this, and I end every interview with this. Who is Jeffrey Tompkins?
I'm just a normal guy. I'm a community member, just like everyone else, I'm not a titles person, and people say, oh, you're a community leader and you're this and that, and I'm just someone that identified a need in the community and activated things within myself to go ahead and assist them, but Jeffrey Tompkins is a father and a friend, and I would think all around good person, handsome young guy with a good smile.
So for the people who may not get it right away, where did the name Jet Foundation come from?
Well, Jet Foundation, those are my initials. My name is Jeffrey Eugene Tompkins, and also when I was trying to think of, it's just haters everywhere today.